Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Top Tier TCG. We're back with another episode, and in today's subject, I'm going to talk about the top supporter cards you're probably going to want to buy in 2025 if you're going to play Pokemon post rotation. So, if you're new to the game, a supporter card is a type of trainer card that the deck you have uses, and what it does, it has a special effect. It kind of either lets you draw cards or it lets you discard one of your opponent's cards or lets you gust an opponent's Pokemon of the active spot. Whatever it does, you can only use one per turn, and it's usually a stronger thing that it lets you do than an item card. And with the post 2025 rotation, we lose some pretty decent supporter cards. But this is a list that I made in no particular order. And I'm going to show you what they are and what they do and kind of tell you how many you should probably have in your deck. This is just a list of things that are like general. So these are cards that I can probably see in every deck aside from the ancient Professor Sada's Vitality. But for everything else, you might be wanting to use these cards. Oh, wait, there's Briar as well. That one is kind of like Terra Pokemon based, but it is a very useful card. So let's just go ahead and get started. And the first card we have is Iono. And each player shuffles their hand and puts it in the bottom of their deck. If each player puts any cards in the bottom of their deck in any way, each player draws a card for each of their remaining prize cards. So this is a long text. So this has to do with how far you are in the game, or in the beginning or end, whatever you want to say. It is a card that shuffles your hand into the bottom of your deck, and then you count how many prize cards you have. Let's say you have 3 and your opponent has 2. You would draw 3 cards and they would draw 2. This is a really good card. It kind of replaced a card called N from a long time ago. I don't even know if I can find it here. I think they might have it. Let's see here. Let's go all supporter, and then let's see if we can do. Can we do expanded? Will it let us do expanded? No, I don't think it will. Oh wait, it will. Boom. Okay, we're gonna search these cards here, and we're gonna put N. See if it's in here. No, I don't think it's in here. Wow, it's not in there. That's crazy. So N was a supporter that would let you shuffle or would make your opponent shuffle their hand and you shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw that many cards as prize cards as you have. Iono's is essentially the same thing, except it just has you put those cards in the bottom of your deck. So there's no chance of you getting those cards from the top. But yeah, you're going to want at least 2 or 1 of those in your deck in the future. It's going to see a lot of play this year, especially because there's like all the decks are slowing down a bit. This will be a good way to disrupt the decks that are like stage 1s or stage 2. And then next we have Professor Turo's Scenario. Put one of your Pokemon in play into your hand, discard all cards attached to that Pokemon. I almost debated putting Penny, which does a similar effect. So Professor Turo, let's say you have a Pokemon that's almost knocked out and it has like 30 HP and you're like, I don't want him to get knocked out. You can use this one, you scoop them up, but you have to throw all your energy and tool cards attached away. It's very similar to Penny, but Penny only lets you do that to basic Pokemon. So this will have more use in a variety of decks, and you can choose whichever Pokemon you want. This will come in handy to prevent your opponent from getting a knockout if you have another Pokemon already full of energy, ready to attack, and you can risk losing those energies attached to those tool cards. You're only going to want like one of these, unless your deck is purely built around scooping up your Pokemon over and over again. Unless that is the situation, you might want 3 of those, but for now, just 1 is really good. And next we have Briar, which is another one that you only want 1 copy of. You can use this card only if your opponent has exactly 2 prize cards remaining. During this turn, if your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an attack used by your Terra Pokemon, take 1 more prize card. So if you play a Charizard or a Teal Mask Ogerpon or you play Dragapult, this is a really good card to have in your deck, at least one of. There's probably going to be one chance you're going to use it, obviously, and it's going to be used to take that extra prize card from your opponent. So Charizard does this really good if your opponent's ahead of the game and they have 2 and you have 3. Use this on any of their EX Pokemon, knock it out easily with the Charizard, and you take 3 prize cards and win the match. So it's a really good way to get in favor of the game, and you only kind of need 1. I don't see a reason to have 2 unless you're crazy like that, but if you do carry this card, this will be really good in any Terra Pokemon type deck. And then we have Professor Sada's Vitality. This one's a slightly more niche one, but it's still very powerful. Choose up to 2 ancient Pokemon and attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to each of them. If you attach an energy card in this way, draw 3 cards. Now this is insane. This is why it goes so good with Raging Bolt, because it lets you get energies from the discard pile onto those Pokemon, and you draw 3 extra cards. So you can pull an item card or another energy, because it doesn't count as your energy attachment, or you can pull the stadium or a tool card you needed. But this is one of those that you're going to run 4 of if you're playing an ancient deck. Right now, Raging Bolt is like the only prominent ancient deck. I don't know what other deck is going to pop out this way, but this is a really good one to have if you are going to play any ancient cards at all. We might get more, who knows? But again, we might have to carry 4 of those. And then we have Crispin. It's seen a lot more play with the Terra types. I like to use it in a lot of decks. It has search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards of different types, reveal them, and put one of them onto your hand and attach the other to your Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. So essentially, if you have an attached energy and you pull this card out, you're going to get an energy attachment for free, and then you get a different energy card in your hand. This is really good for like Dragapult, which is just 2 energy types to do its attack, or if you're trying to set up one of your Terra Pokemon, the ones that have like 3 different energy attachments to it, maybe your Sylveon EX, this has been helpful for that a lot. If you already had that first energy attachment, and then you add these 2, combined with the Crystal A-Spec card, that's going to be a really useful card. I like to run at least 2 in my deck if I did. If your deck is focused more around kind of just getting the beginning of that setup, then Crispin maybe 1 is perfect for you. But 1 to 2 wouldn't be bad. Definitely a card I'm going to see in the future, and I think you will too. And then we got Boss's Orders. This is a really, really, really good card, and it's in every single deck compared to Iono and Arven and Professor's Research that I'll talk in a bit. This is probably the card you're going to see the most. So get yourself copies of these, 4 if you want, but 2 or 3 is probably going to be the sweet spot. A lot of decks only play 1 with a Pal Pad, but switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot, and that's any. There is Lissie's Appeal, which is kind of similar, but it's only for basic Pokemon. This lets you grab any Pokemon that your opponent has in the field and puts them in their active so you can snipe them and knock them out. Or you can slow down their game if you don't have the energy attachments yet. You can put one of those Pokemon that they use as support that doesn't need any energy, and so they got to use their resources to get their Pokemon back in the active. This will be a really good way to mitigate that. But yeah, just 1 or 2 will be perfect in there for you. And then we have Judge. This one doesn't see too much play, but I do enjoy it, and I think you'll probably see it more often, especially with I feel like there's going to be a rise in disruption decks. I might be wrong, but with Badoo coming out, this would be a beautiful card to have because they can't use any of their items, and then you shuffle their deck. So each player shuffles their hand into their deck and draws 4 cards. It really limits your opponent's resources and yours, so use this one wisely. You'll probably only need 1, maybe 2 if you're using a disruption deck, but this is a card that I think we'll see more play as well, and it's always good to have. And then we have Jaque. I almost debated not putting him in this, but it feels like we're having a lot of evolution lines coming up, and what this does is search your deck for up to 2 evolution Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So you'll probably only need this card once, and I can only see it with Dragapult or Charizard, or maybe some of the new decks that are probably going to come out, but maybe 1 is enough. Like I said, I debated of even putting him in here, but I kind of wanted to get to 10 supporter cards. There's not a lot to choose from. A lot of them do things, but they're not that great, and they're very specific to a deck. But Jaque is one of those ones, at least if you have evolution lines and you pull this card, maybe your Bidoof evolve into a Bibarel, or if you have your Eevee, you can use this to evolve into the Terra evolution that it has really quickly, and you can get your Noctowl in there as well. However you want to play it, I think at least one of these is going to be good, beginning, mid, even save you at the end. But yeah. And then we have Professor's Research, which is also one of the most important cards that people use. It's very simple. Discard your hand and draw 7 cards. So bad hand in the beginning, bad hand in the middle, or you're just trying to get more cards in your hand to increase your options. Use this card, get rid of all those cards you didn't need, and a lot of people are going to play 2 to 3 of these. Some people even play 4 just to get their deck with the consistency. This is an awesome card. Get it, and you will not be dissatisfied. So yeah, go get yourself a playset of 4. And then we got Arven. This is also one of the best supporters out there. And what it does is search your deck for an item card and a Pokemon tool card. Reveal them and then put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. This is Charizard and Dragapult's saving grace and a lot of evolution line Pokemon. It lets you get your Buddy Buddy Poffins, lets you get your rare candies, it lets you get your Crystal Ace spec, it lets you get your other tool cards that you might need. But I wish it let you get a Stadium, but it does not. But this is the closest we get to something like that, and it's a really good card. A lot of people will run 3 to 4. If you can get away with 2, go for it. But this is definitely a card you want to pick up. And that's about it on these cards. This one was a really short video. I was planning to do an item card next. That's about like 25 to 26 cards that I kind of figured would be useful. I know the Prismatic Evolutions comes out pretty soon, but they're all reprints, so there's no important cards in there for at least trainers and supporters. But if I had to rank these best to worst, I'd probably say I would go first Boss's Orders. Definitely have it in your deck. Then number 2 would be Professor's Research. And then number 3 would be Arven. Then down to 4 it'd be Iono. And then 5 is a really hard one. I'm going to say Professor Sada. And then number 6, it's going to be Crispin. Number 7, I'm going to say Judge. Number 8, Briar. Number 9, Professor Turo Scenario. And number 10, as the least important, is going to be Jaque. So if you had to rate from which one was important, there goes that list. And I'll also put it in the link to these cards in the bio, and I'll put my ranking list down there. But what do you guys think? What supporter cards are you using in your decks? Did I choose the wrong ones, or do you think there's better cards out there? Again, this was for just a generalization of deck building, not for any specific deck builds. So go get yourself these trainer cards. Maybe find yourself a toolkit. If you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment, and hit the subscribe button, and we'll see what happens soon. All right. Thank you guys. Peace.